slide. Let's beat the squad. Big Pat Shell and Dante the Dark Child. Drop the stats on them. Drop the facts on them. Spur King, baby. Let's get it on.
Hey, fam, it's your man, Dante the Dark Knight. Look, can we talk? Is it too soon? Is it too soon? We just saw Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday lose the Super Bowl to the Kansas City Chiefs 38-35. Very, very disappointing, man. Very disappointing after being so hyped up over the season. To go down in the manner that we went down was just discouraging. That's what it was. It was just very discouraging. And I don't know. Is it time? Can we talk now? Has everybody has the disappointment or hurt or anger? Is it still? Look, Chris has said he's still freaking angry. He's still freaking angry. BS calls. Yes, we're going to talk a little bit about that too. But yeah, I thought I'd come back because we need to have a group therapy session. Just us Eagles fans. We need to get together and talk it out. Let's talk about what's on our minds. I'll start it off. Very disappointed. You heard me in the post game. If you didn't, it's very disappointing. I was deeply, deeply disappointed. Angry, a little bit angry at Jonathan. Jonathan Gannon. Disappointed in them being out coached, because that's what it came down to, right? Andy Reid he out coached Jonathan Gannon. Basically, his unit, his offensive unit, and his play calling got the best of our defense, our former defensive coordinator. Let me announce that right now. He's now our former defensive coordinator, Jonathan Gannon, because he has accepted a job with the Arizona Cardinals. He stayed right there in Arizona and went on the interview, and that could not have been a great audition for him at the Super Bowl, because he got thoroughly outwitted by one Andy Reid. And in the same breath, let me say that Shane Steichen has also been hired as the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. So both of our coordinators are gone now. We have to replace them. I don't know who we get to replace Jonathan Gannon. You would think of someone that runs close to the scheme that he ran, but to be honest, I don't know what this defense is going to look like next year. I mean, with so many free agents, this may be a good time. If the door should be wide open to bring in whoever you want to bring in, because we have so many the free agents on the defensive side of the ball. You could actually shape this defense to be what the incoming defensive coordinator wants to run. It's not a hard flop right now. If we have to switch gears and go in a different direction, we have so many people that are free agents. You can really shape this defense to be whatever the incoming defensive coordinator wants it to be. So I guess that's okay. But we don't know what this defense is going to look like with all the free agents. We don't know who's coming back or anything like that. But that's neither here nor there. We're going to talk about the game first. We're going to get everything out off our chest about what happened on Sunday. I can start it off. Let me see. Raheem says it was a damn good game. Jalen Hurts played great. Everyone is acknowledging Hurts on his performance. The future will definitely pray for the Eagles. We will be back there again. I do believe that. I just don't know how quick. I want it to be next year, because I'm still mad. I want it to be next year, and I'm mad. I understood that this was coming, but when it does come, you just can't prepare yourself for it. It just still burns you up, and that's the fans of the other NFL teams that weren't in the Super Bowl. That the haters that come out of the woodworks now that we have been defeated. Nothing that they could do themselves. But now they come out the woodwork, and they have me riled up. They have me mad. But I'm looking at the game, and I'll tell you, I didn't like. Of course, we can go right to the defense. I didn't like the game Jonathan Gannon called. He got taken advantage of in the area that he always gets taken advantage of. Like that's that's that second half is that's what's the word I'm looking for? It seems like that's his standard. That's the people that beat him and his defense. That's the standard. I mean, that's the same old vanilla defense he always runs, right? And that's the one that always gets taken advantage of. Always gets taken advantage of. Last person to do it before Patrick Mahomes was Dak Prescott. That was the last one to do it, right? Every time we face a good average to above average quarterback, they take advantage of the same thing every time. And that's what has me burned up, that he hasn't adjusted to that, not even in the biggest game of his life. He didn't change. So I'm very upset about his defensive scheme and his stubbornness. How about that? His stubbornness to change. And I don't know, I don't even know if it's stubbornness, because he just may be that ignorant. He just may be that ignorant to not know that he should change. You know, I don't know if it's reminiscent playing Madden, right? People's learning for the first time, and they get into a coverage or a few formations that they're successful in, and then that's all they play. They only play those three, and eventually, the opponent learns them, right? And then, but the ignorance that they have, they don't have enough intelligence to know that now that they figured it out, I need to switch. That's what he reminds me of, a amateur or beginner Madden video game player. Finds a formation, it works against multiple offensive sets, and he has some success. And then when they figure it out, he's too ignorant to realize that I need to change now. I need to change now. That's what I see. That it was horrible. No, absolutely no adjustments. None. After we saw Andy Reid go to the locker room and come back out well adjusted, and just took total advantage. So I'm very upset about Jonathan Gannon. And I know people are, I've been listening to sports talk all day, and they cannot wash it away, because we've all seen it with our eyes. So I don't care what kind of spin you put on it. We're upset with Jonathan Gannon. We're upset with that defense. And we're more upset with Jonathan Gannon because he has the players, he had the talent to do something different and be successful at it, but he wouldn't do it. It's one thing, like last year, I gave him a pass because I said, you know what? He can't do what he wants to do because he doesn't have the personnel. We didn't have a very stout defense last year. So I gave him a pass on that. But there's no excuses now. This defense was loaded. He had everything that he needed to run whatever he wanted to run. But he refused to come out of what he was running. So yeah, I'm upset about that. If you guys agree with me, let me know. Jason says, I'm still hurting from this loss. When you have a QB that played like the real MVP and lose, yeah. Here's Anthony says, I am pissed the Eagles D didn't show up. Like I said, Gannon is like Schwartz and didn't blitz. No, he did not. I just got finished opening up the conversation with that fact. Jason also says, how did we look so sloppy when a wide receiver went into motion? I never seen anything like that before. I'll recap shortly what I said in the post game. I said that was a lack of preparation. Why is I'm asked that same question, Jason? Why is the wide receiver from the opponent, your opponent in the Super Bowl? And I say that because your opponent in the Super Bowl, which you had 2 weeks to study film of, wide receivers go into motion, and our defense looks like they've never seen anything like that in their lives after 2 weeks of film study. And this motion in the pre-snap motion is not anything that Andy Reid just introduced to his playbook in the Super Bowl. This is something that was being done all year, something that they had to come across had they been going over film, right? They had to had to seen all the pre-snap motion. And it just baffles me that when it happened in the game, they just looked like, what the hell is that going on? Now, yeah. So, I mean, we are here. I'll just talk about this too, because somebody put it up here. Chris Rogers, the flag for not allowing the defense to get set after the catch and then allowing Reed time to challenge. The refs fucked us. I mentioned that. I totally agree. Let's talk about that for a minute. And I don't want to be confused with crybaby 49er fans. I don't want to do that. I do give the credit where the credit is due. The Kansas City Chiefs are a formidable team that, one of the best quarterbacks probably to ever play, one of the best coaches probably to ever coach. I give them that. I'm not crying over that. I'm just pointing out what I saw and how I felt about it. So if you want to label me a crybaby, then label me a crybaby. I don't care. But the refs, I talked about it. Soon as I saw the background of the head official, I announced it to you guys. And I said it in pregame, only thing that I'm concerned about, I'm not concerned about my team performing up to their ability. I was more concerned. I wasn't even concerned. I should have been, but I wasn't concerned about the coaching. I just figured they got us here to this game. We had a dominant season, a great season. I'm going to trust them. I'm not even concerned about them. I'm going to trust them in this biggest game. I had concern about them against San Fran, and we just totally annihilated them. So I gave them the benefit of the doubt. I said, I'm not even worried about them. I am concerned about the referees, the officiating. This head official was, number one, the most flag thrower in the league this year. Number two, our record when he's officiating our games is 6-8. Meanwhile, when he's officiating Kansas City Chiefs games, it's like 16-7. So yeah, I was worried. And national analysts and everything have looked at that hold and said that should have not been called. I don't even want to hear the part about he held and all that. That should have not been called. With the way that they set the tone on that type of play earlier in the game, and at no time was any ticky-tack foul. They were allowing them to have contact. They had set the standard throughout the game. And then on this last one, you change up. That was just utter BS. Yes, that was utter BS. Some other things that they did too, but that was the most egregious fault that I saw. They didn't have a great game either. The next one is the field. How about the field for the NFL? And this being the biggest game, the top ratings getter of every year in television. Probably 1 billion eyes on this game, and the field is like that. I really don't want to sound like a San Fran fan. I don't want to sound like a sore loser, but boy, oh boy, if I were, let me just put it this way, if I were an investigative reporter and I was looking for a conspiracy theory in this game, I have a lot of material I can go on. I have a lot of leads, a lot of roads I could go down if I wanted to go that route. Let me just put it that way. I'm not going to sit here and cry like a little whiner or anything like that, but it's just mighty peculiar that these things happen. Drew says, man, this one really hurt for me. That run back was a backbreaker. Yeah, our special teams finally jumped up to bite us in the ass. Finally jumped out to cost us a damn game. That was heartbreaking. I was at the Miller's Ale House. Thank you again, the Miller's Ale House. And so we had, you have all the TVs in the place where and was synchronized, but we had our own our own private television for the program, for the broadcast. So we're watching it on that TV and it's over the air. So we're getting the action like like at least a minute before they're getting it on the big screen TVs. And I'm trying my best not to show my emotions beforehand because I can see it before everybody else. But I saw that run back, and if anybody was keyed on me, they knew that it was not a good play coming up because I could not hide my disappointment in seeing him return that kick all the way down inside the 10. That was horrible. That was oof. Anthony A's says Mahomes had to take something during halftime because no way Mahomes looked rejuvenated and he act like his ankle didn't bother him. Mahomes had to take painkillers. Yeah, I wouldn't put it past him. In this situation with as much on the line, I wouldn't put it past him. No, I wouldn't. Barbara says Mahomes sure was amped up second half after limping in pain. Yeah. Andre says, I don't think Mahomes was hurt. That's part of the script. Was that part of the script? Is that part of my conspiracy theory script there? Yeah, let's talk about everything. This is it. This is our therapy session. Let's talk about everything that you guys went through in watching that game, how you felt, what were the key plays, where were some of the moments where you just slapped your head like, what the hell is going on? Oh, I can tell you this one right before the fumble, Sayamalu with the penalty, right? Had he not gotten a penalty, we wouldn't have had to have gone for that. We wouldn't have had to have run that play. It was 3rd and 1, about to be another sneak, and that penalty pushed us back 6 yards, and we had to run a different play, and that's when Jalen fumbled the ball, and that hurt also. So, we said in the pregame that if this team played their game, meaning weren't uncharacteristic, right, we would probably win this game going away. And we just didn't. We didn't play we played an uncharacteristic game for us. Turned the ball over. I said whoever won the turnover battle was going to win the game, no doubt about it. And it was. They won. We only turned it over once, but that's all you need. And when you have two such powerful teams going against each other, that's all it takes is just one mistake. And our one mistake was the big one. A few of our mistakes were huge ones. That one led to 7. Not a turnover, and our defense, we have a chance to come out and maybe salvage it. No, this was a turnover that strictly led right to 7 points. That hurt really bad. That hurt when you lose by 3 and you gave them 7 points. That did hurt. But outside of that, Jalen Hurts played an outstanding and great game. He was the MVP. He probably could have won the MVP on the losing team. That's how great he was. What was it, 27-38, 304 yards, 1 passing touchdown, 3 rushing touchdowns, 70 yards on the ground. Yeah, he balled out. He balled out. JT, thank you for coming up, man. I'm sorry we didn't have the outcome that we were hoping for, but it's always a pleasure seeing you, man. You and the missus, man. You guys, when y'all guys, well, I brighten up like a little kid. When I see JT, when JT comes in, man, it's like a little kid. My eyes I get so excited, man. I thank you so much for coming through. Tony Burns says KC offensive staff dug up tape on our Week 4 Jags match to find a play that got them 2 TDs on Sunday. Our defense coordinator was obviously doing his resume. Prep is everything. Yeah, you're right. I heard that same thing, Tony. I heard that. Angelo tried to sell that. Tried to sell that as Doug Peterson causing us to lose the game, but I don't buy that. I don't buy it. But yeah, that was the truth. They did use a play. That was a play from Dougie P's repertoire when he brought the Jags into town and we spanked them and sent them all on their way. But yeah, that was a play from their playbook. Tanya says Jalen sure did play his heart out. Yes, he did. Anthony A says, what pissed me off, no helmet to helmet call when Devontae Smith got whacked in the helmet on the side. Yes, no doubt. No doubt. It was crazy. It was crazy. It's no excuse. We got out-coached 2 wide open TDs. Yeah, you're right. We got out-coached, definitely out-coached. And I said it early in the before we entered the playoffs, and then it came to fruition too. I said, and this was before we played any games, before we played the Giants or anything like that. I think my biggest concern at that time, and that was even before we knew who our opponent was going to be. I said my biggest concern going into these playoffs, and it's not great concern, but it's my biggest concern, is what are these coaches going to do in the playoffs? Because they are, our coaches are on the younger side and inexperienced side. Let's put it that way. An inexperienced side of coaching in the playoffs. And here we are. We were going up against playoff tested coaches. Kyle Shanahan, Andy Reid, as we saw. There were some coaches out there that had playoff experience, and I was wondering how our coaches were going to be able to compete against them, especially since we didn't face a lot of adversity. I don't even know the exact stat, but how many times have we had to come back? Maybe a game or two. We've led a majority of our games this year. We didn't face a lot of adversity. We didn't face a lot of adversity, and we got some. We got a major a great coach who made major adjustments at the half, and we couldn't counter it. We didn't count. I'm not going to say we couldn't. We didn't counter it. Because I think had we attempted to counter it, we might have done a good job. Again, this defense is loaded. I gave Jonathan Gannon a pass last year when I said he doesn't have the talent on this roster to do what he wants to do. I gave him that pass last year, but then how he went out and got all of that talent. How he was about that life. He went out and got all that talent that Jonathan Gannon needed to run what he wanted to run. He would have got it all. CJ GJ, James Bradbury, Hassan Reddick. He would have got all that. Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean. He went out and got all the talent that he needed. So we had the talent. I'm not going to say we couldn't. We didn't. We didn't adjust and we didn't stop him. And that was a big part of our demise. Devontae Smith was a catch before the half. Yeah, that was horrible. But that was the football guys coming back and even in the playing field because we got a big one the week before. I guess that's what that was. But that definitely was a catch. And even if there was some question, I don't think there was enough evidence to overturn it. Even if you were from the hater side and you wanted to see it be true, it still wasn't enough, I think, to overturn the call. So that was some BS too. That was some bullshit. Andre Jackson says 4th and 2, fourth quarter. We shouldn't have punted that ball back to Holmes. Yeah. I think but I guess with that I can say that because these are the two, that incident that you just pointed out and the non-adjustment by our defensive coordinator just proves the inexperience that they have in such a big moment like that. But the good news is now they have that experience. It doesn't make us feel any better today, sitting on the losing side of the Super Bowl. But, I guess if we were going to be looking for any silver lining in the sky, in the clouds here going forward, we can say now our head coach has some experience. Now, I don't know what he's going to say about Jonathan Gannon, but if I was his PR guy, and Sports Talk is calling for Jonathan Gannon's head. He's going anyway. He's got a head coaching job, so he's out here. But WIP in particular are calling for, Jonathan Gannon's head. Wants Nick to serve him up on a platter whenever he talks to the station. And if I was Sirianni's PR or public relations guy, I would tell him like, yo, You go out there, you don't throw your head coach under the bus. I mean, your coordinator under the bus, but you can acknowledge that he didn't do his best job by being tactful about it. He could come out and just say, all of us have the mentality of being accountable for what kind of performance we turned out on Sunday. So I am very sure that Jonathan Gannon has looked in the mirror and he wishes that he could have done some things different, just like all of us on this team, because that's how we roll. It's the culture around here. We're always trying to be better and to get better, and we're all accountable for our performances. So the first place we look is in the mirror and see what we could have done better. I look in the mirror and see what I could have done better. Maybe what I could have done better was seeing that the defense was struggling. Maybe I could have went over and say, "Yo, can we try something different? Let's try something different." That's where I have to get better. Maybe I have to do that. But I'm sure Jonathan Gannon I'm positive, because that's how we are around here. I'm positive that he has looked in the mirror already and said, I wish I could have these plays back, have done something different right here and all that. And that's what I would tell him to say. That's the best way to get out of it. Not throwing, acknowledging that, yeah, he fucked up, but, not throwing him under the bus. That's what I would do. Somebody hire me. Somebody hire me as a PR guy. All right. We need to go get Lovie Smith. Who are the DC candidates? I don't know, man. That's going to be key. And again, like I said, we have so many free agents that it doesn't really much matter who you bring in, right? What style they like to play, because he has to reformulate this defense anyway. I mean, he has to restructure it anyway. So that getting his defensive coordinator before he starts signing people is probably going to be key, right? That's going to be key, because then he'll know how to move after that. Like, what I'm saying? Like, what were we? We were like a hybrid, though, right? So I can't even say what we were. I think our base set was a 4-3. I don't know. So he can bring in a 4-3 coach, but if he wants to bring in a 3-4 coach, that just, allows him to know what pieces he might not need to bring back. You know what I mean? Like you have some players that don't play good in the 3-4 or not a fit for a 3-4. So if they're free agents, you might be like, all right, we don't need him. He doesn't fit in this scheme, or we don't need him. So I think it's imperative that they will hire the defensive coordinator before they start messing around with these contracts and such. Lovie Smith, I wouldn't mind him. Greg Williams, I wouldn't mind him either. A linebacker, and I think DB coach, the talent carried. Yes, this is a great point too. I'm glad you brought this up, because we can talk about this all the time. But the defense carried the DC. His scheme was trash. I was just talking about this with someone earlier yesterday, right? His defensive talent actually carried him. Like, it's a good thing that he's leaving now, because he may not be successful next year, depending on who we bring back and what this defense looks like. I think he was definitely a beneficiary of the talent he had. He just had awesome talent, yo. His scheme was not that great. As we saw the same scheme that we have been complaining about for 2 years rear its ugly head again in the biggest game of the year. That's what we always talked about, this soft defense. We always talked about it. And then again, we see it again in the biggest game of the year. Another thing that was shocking to me was the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs actually ran the ball on us very effectively. That was surprising. Surprising, yo. Who would you like to see as a defensive coach? Didn't know Eagles Talk was home. I had to come. We had to talk about it, Jackie. This is a therapy session here. Get it all out. What's your problem? What did you have? What was your biggest takeaway? What pissed you off the most about Sunday night's game? No, I don't think B-Dawk will be willing. Somebody said, do you think B-Dawk will be willing to come in and beat DC? Nah. some of the guys are smart enough to know that that's not for them. You know what I'm saying? Because coaching is not. It's not. That's not a mail-in job. Like you don't. That's not a work at home job. So you got to be ready to get down there. You put those hours in. You got to do that, travel, all that. You got to be ready for that. And not every ex NFL player wants to do. Some people like to just lay back and do some things a little differently. Some people like the hustle and bustle and love the game so much, and that's why they go into coaching afterwards. But then you have some that's like, nah, that's not my steez. I don't feel like dealing with these knuckleheads or being so day to day, like as if I was still playing, So I just don't think that's B Dawk's avenue. He may shock me, maybe it is, but it just doesn't strike me that he wants to do that. Because if he wanted to, he would be on somebody's staff right now, Same with Seth Joyner. I don't think Seth wants to do that either. So what pissed me off was no sacks, not a one sack was given up. And that Kansas City Chiefs offensive line was highly rated as a pass protecting offensive line. And they did do a hell of a job, along with the NFL and the grounds crew, did a hell of a job of slowing down our defensive line. Yeah, I mentioned the grounds crew because that turf was ridiculous. That turf had just as much responsibility for slowing down our pass rush as anything else. So, yeah, the offensive line, the NFL and the grounds crew did a great job of neutralizing our pass rush. Because we had hardly any pressure, man. It was, they were like on skates out there, first of all. And I get it. They had to play against that same one too, but we had the offense. I mean, we had the defensive line that really suffered. We suffered the worst for that field being the way it was. I know that both teams had to play on that, but given them too dry, they played in well conditions all year, and so did we. And we see what the numbers were. We were more affected by that field, the middle of the field being so slick. We were more affected, I think, than they were. I'm not mad. I'm proud of our team and season. And I'm getting there slowly but surely, Susan. I got there. My anger. I am mad. I'm mad. Not so much I'm mad at my team for not pulling it out, and I know that they gave their all, but I'm mad that I have to face these bitch ass people, the haters. You know what I mean? I'm mad I have to face them. So like I want to go to training camp tomorrow. Like, yo, let's go run. Let's hurry up so we can run this back. Cause I want to come back and shut these people up so bad. I was just looking so forward to being able to do that after Sunday night, but that's not the case. So another quest begins. Another quest begins for us to chase that Super Bowl ring. So I can't wait to get back. I'm mad, but I'm inspired mad. Like, yo, I'm ready to start this thing over. Like, yo, I'm mad that we didn't take advantage, but let's run it back. Hurry up, get the squad together. Come on, let's sign who we need to sign. Let's get back in the training camp. I know I'm not going to see anybody in training camp. That's just not how you run training camp anymore. But I'm eager to get to training camp so I can't see the starters. That if that makes any sense. Take it out on the Cowboy. I blocked him like a motherfucker on Sunday. Yes. Yeah. Oh man. I could have took the loss if it was fair and square, but it wasn't. Yeah. I talked about if I was an investigative reporter putting together a conspiracy theory piece on this game, I would have a lot of material. We let our foot off the gas. Yes, we let our foot off the gas, man. And a big part of that was that fumble. That fumble was horrible. I know we put up 35 points, but that was a 14-point swing, to be really honest. I mean, our offense was not being stopped on the previous two drives. It was easy. And here we are. Our defense got to stop, and we were about to go up. I truly do believe this, that we were about to go up 21-7. had we not fumbled that ball away, I feel really good that we were about to go up 21-7, and that would have been a big difference. But instead of a 21-7 lead, it was a 14-14 tie. That was huge, huge. If we keep everything in place, we will be back. Yeah, but that's the hard part, keeping everything in place. Real Will says, I can't believe we had no quarterback sacks. Right. That's crazy. He got face masks on that play too. Yeah. We'll have a good team next season, but I don't think it'll be as great as this year's opportunity loss. Yeah, I agree with that. That was a huge window of opportunity, and we were standing in the window, and we could not take advantage of it because, we talk about people and teams and their window of opportunity. How long is that window open? And yeah, this team could be good next year, but we just don't know. I mean, we had a lot of 1-year deals, and we don't know how many of those people we can bring back. Now, I think Howie does a hell of a job with setting us up. We are kind of set up with the young guy. A lot of our young guys, our young prominent players are locked up in the contracts, so they'll be here for at least 2 to 3 years, right? But then we had a lot of 1-year deals, and we could see some of those people leaving out the door this offseason. So in that sense, it's going to be a little shakeup, and he's going to really have to. He did a hell of a job this year going into this year, but I'm eager to see what type of roster building he's going to do in this offseason with all the moving parts. So yeah, I can't wait. Howie's going to be a key again, and along with everyone and everyone's desire to get better from last year to this year, meaning our MVP candidate quarterback going back out and putting in that same type of work to improve on this MVP caliber season. Like, he's Mamba mentality. Let's remember, he's Mamba mentality. So it's not like him. It's uncharacteristic for him to say, all right, I'm done. I'm as good as I'm going to get. Let's run it back. No, I think this kid is going to go out and he's going to work just as hard this year, and he's going to come back even better than he was this past year. And I can't wait to see that. But I hope that everybody, I know that Sirianni has that type of mentality also, with what I hear that he preaches to the team. So I feel confident that he's going to go in and put the work in. And there's a question mark. We don't know who the coordinator is going to be. So that that remains to be seen. I do believe that the quarterback's coach, Johnson, may be elevated to offensive coordinator. Susan says, I sure miss Shady. Need a player like that. Yeah, I believe that we need a good DC. Yeah, we definitely need that. Mahomes limping and we still not scoring. What the hell? Yeah, you're right. I was like, yo, with the loss, I still consider his performance a win. Yeah, his performance was a win. If not for anybody, but for the Jalen Hurts fan club, it was a win. And for the Jalen Hurts financial team, it was a win also, because he's about to get paid in full, like Rakim says. He's about to get paid in full, yo. That was a heck of a way to go out in the Super Bowl, performing at such a high level that he did. You know what I'm saying? Like that was great. 20, like I said, 27 for 38, 304 yards, the passing touchdown, 3 rushing touchdowns, 70 yards on the ground. He played out of his mind. Real Will says, I wish Seth Joyner can be our defensive coordinator. Yeah, I wish he could too, but I don't think he is. Hell no, we got the number 1 toughest schedule now. Yeah, we do have a very tough schedule, and this is going to say a lot. This is going to say a lot how we do against next year's schedule, because if we come out, I know this team's going to be a little different. I know it is. But if we come out and we do horrible, I mean, like I can't see us going less than 500 or anything like that. We're not doing that. But there might be a little drop off. Even without knowing our final roster, because I don't know who's going to retain and who's going to walk. But even without that, I would be surprised if we did not win at least 11, 12 games. I would be shocked. Now, after the roster is set, I can probably give a clearer prediction, but I can't see this team, especially when there's a lot of pieces on offense that's still going to be in place. Even though Miles' contract is up and such, I think for the most part, our offense is going to be intact, and we may even upgrade our slot receiving position, because here we go again. I told you Watkins was just not ready, man. He has to be demoted. He's not a Batman. He's a Robin. He's definitely a Robin. All right. So he says, James Nooks. JT says, yo, I just feel we deserve that championship. Yeah, I do too, man. I really do. James Nook says, don't know if he'll be back, but Jason Kelce was beasting on those sneaks. Yeah, he was, man. I hope he does come back. Although I feel good with Cam Jurgens, but, a little sentimental. I want to see the guy come back. He's an all-time great Eagle. I love to see him come back and try to send him out on a high. We couldn't do it with Angelo Cataldi. Maybe we can do it with Jason Kelce if he comes back next year. Anthony A said, I think Howie got something up his sleeve. I hope he does. Splash, what's up, Splash? Man, we didn't use Boston Scott, but one time Gainwell was getting us up the field and Miles didn't do nothing after he got smacked. Shake my head. I love that dude. He let me down. Yeah, he bouncing all outside and all that. The first run he had, I'm like, what is he doing? He's going back to this bouncing shit. Like, yo, just pound it up the gut and see what you get, and let's do it. I mean, like every run, and that was the problem they had with him, because he kept twitching and kept trying to bounce it outside. This is not this is not college. You are not getting around the outside, and these big guys in the NFL game are fast. It's rare that you can get around the side. So you take what they give you, go up the gut, get those 2-3 yards if that's all that you can get, and live to run another day. But yeah, the first round of one of his early carries, he started dancing and doing that bouncing crap, and then he got smacked, and I think they weren't high on him on Sunday. Adrian said, we had a lot of blown coverages and plays, but all in all, I'm proud of how we played this season. I was at our playoff game last year against Brady and at the Super Bowl this year. Much improvement. Yeah, that's great, man. I feel bad for you guys too, man. Like, to go out there. At first, I envied you guys because I was like, wow, they're going to be out there and they're going to experience the Super Bowl win in person. That's got to be something else. And then when it didn't happen, then I felt equally bad for you guys. So I'm like, wow, they went all the way out there and they didn't get the opportunity to celebrate a Super Bowl win. But I'm hope that you still had a great experience, and it is a once in a lifetime, unless you've done it multiple times, but it is like a once in a lifetime experience. So I hope you did enjoy yourself. Real Will says, yeah, Watkins has to go. We need a third receiver. Yeah, he does. No, we didn't use Brown enough. Yeah. Jason should come back for one more year with Jalen, then call it. Yeah, I hope that's what he does. Andre says, Watkins trash, hot garbage juice, but he got pass interference on that play, though. But it hit his hand, so you got to catch it. Yeah, that it's it's hard to watch him too. Like, I don't know. I'm not gonna put him there yet, but he about to enter Reagan territory, man. Rager territory. You guys, he better stop it now. He's about to go from Batman to a Robin to Jalen Rager. So you better watch. He better go and improve his game in this offseason. Let me put it that way. Dwight Brown, I know where to work on special teams in the offseason. We need to get whoever that coach is out of that position and into a position that he can be productive in, if there's one for him, because obviously special teams is not it. And at the most inopportune time, their substandard play rears its ugly head. and sets the Kansas City Chiefs up with automatic points, basically. Automatic points. Adrian said we had a lot of blown coverages and plays, but all in all, I'm proud how we played this season. I was at our oh no, I read that one before. Yeah, Booby was non-existent. Yes, he was. James Nook says I like Jurgens. Also, hope Kelsey will at least take a year to coach him. Yeah, I think that was happening here. I mean, this year too, because he was very, Kelsey sat out a big chunk of this training camp, and I think as that was happening, he was like in Jurgens' ear and tutoring him, mentoring him, or whatever you want to call it. So I'm not saying that that's enough, but the next time I saw him on the field, he was very Kelsey-like, and moving and athletically getting out and getting to that second level. Very athletic. So I feel good about him. I would feel better if Kelsey came back. Don't get me wrong there. Darnell Williams, hope we can get a big back. Dwight Brown, I know we need to work on special teams in the offseason. We need to not only work on it, we need to get a special teams in the offseason. That's what we need. We need to get a special teams in the offseason. Yeah. All right. Sean Payton said that may be the difference in pregame and that run back hurt us. Yeah. Our boys worked so hard. I was heartbroken. In such a bad mood Monday. I had an argument with a coworker over office shit. Oh my God. Susan was like, no, my motherfucking paper clips. Don't touch my paper clips. This is not the day to touch my paper clips. I know it had you hyped up. No, this is not the day. Don't touch my fucking paper clips today. We lost yesterday now. Darnell says, I love Jalen mindset about going back to a Super Bowl. Tony Burns says, don't want to ditch on an Aussie, but can we shop for a new punter in the off season while we're at it? Yeah. That part, Tony. We'll give you guys first shot if you got another guy, because you guys play rugby and stuff. You guys play soccer, so they make good kickers. Just not that one. Can we get another one? Can we get a replacement? Can we get a replacement, Tony? Splash says, I feel like everyone cried. I feel like everyone cried after that loss. I was so crushed. Jalen numbers and the performance showed we should have won. It's very, very heartbreaking. Yeah. Kelsey needs to come back one more year. We need special teams and a better defensive coordinator. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. It was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking, man. But I am slowly but surely moving to and I'm not all the way there, don't get me wrong. I'm more in the moment of losing the Super Bowl, but slowly but surely I am transitioning or trying to incorporate a attitude of gratitude, so to speak. Meaning like, all right, yeah, we did lose the Super Bowl, but it was a heck of a year. It was a heck of a year. And I was saying this throughout this year too. I was saying, don't miss the ride here. Enjoy the ride. Because we didn't know what was going to happen at the end. And I didn't want you to fly through this year without enjoying what was actually taking place. Because this was, and even though we didn't win the Super Bowl, this is still probably one of the greatest Eagles teams in franchise history. So, you don't want to, I wanted to enjoy that also, because we were doing some amazing things, and I enjoyed it. So I'm starting to, move into that space a little bit, but I have to be honest. I'm still hurt. I'm still mad about some things, and we are officially in the off season, and we are officially rooting for some things to happen now. Like we always are rooting for the free agent signings, who our draft picks are going to be, and all that. And a couple years ago, we were even rooting for the coaching search and all that. Well, now we're in the early part of this offseason. We know that we have to replace two coordinators. So that's going to be the first order of business. So we have something to look forward to there. I don't know. Who would you guys like if they don't use an in-house replacement for Shane Steichen? Who would you guys like to see come in? So I saw somebody right up there, Eric Bieniemy. I don't know. I kind of think that Coach Johnson, the quarterback's coach, is going to be elevated. I don't know. I don't even know if that's a good move. I mean, I don't know much about him. I can't say anything about him. But yeah, that's my gut feeling. That's my gut feeling. So we'll see about that. I don't know if we have our next defensive coordinator on this staff. I don't know if there'll be if there's anybody that they are willing to elevate into that position, but it's going to be very, very important. Both of those are going to be very important because let's not get it twisted. Shane did a hell of a job in his 2 years, and in the time since he's taken over play calling duties, this offense has clicked. Since the time he has taken over play calling duties, this offense has really taken off. And I still don't think they have an answer for what we do on offense. So it pains me to see Steichen leave because they still hadn't figured it out. We put up 35 in the Super Bowl. That's enough. You should win that. You should win that Super Bowl. When you put up 35, you should win. And we did not. So I was very happy with what they were doing on the offensive side of the ball. Very happy. So if I think his name is Byron Johnson, I can't remember his first name, but the quarterback's coach, if he is anything like his predecessor, then we'll be in good hands. But you know what I miss and what I saw? I missed it because I saw it in Andy Reid's play calling, but I missed having that offensive guru, so to speak, that could design plays and then had the ability to be a effective play caller. And that's what Andy Reid was on Sunday. And I say that because we had that in Doug Peterson, and he's gone now, but he was just as good of a play designer in my eyes, and I loved the way he called the game also. So again, I know this is a bad time, but I still apologize to Dougie P because I was one of the ones that wanted to run him out of here. And now that I see and see how everything unfolded, I'm sorry, Doug. That's all I can say. I'm sorry. But Sirianni gave us a great year. 16-3, Super Bowl appearance. Couldn't pull it off. I'm kind of used to his quirky sayings and all that, his motivational rhetoric and stuff like that. It works for this team, so that's all that matters to me. But am I hurt? Yeah, I'm hurt about Sunday. Yeah, hell yeah, I'm hurt about Sunday. Woo! Oh, you just don't know. And, I don't know about you guys, but I have, I'm superstitious. I do that. And I'm telling you, I sealed our fate when I answered as if this really had an effect on the game. But anyway, go along with me on this. Okay, so I'm riding to Miller's Ale House, and my cousin, who is known for his nickname in our family is Slep Rock. Like if anybody's old enough, I know I'm dating myself here. And Slep Rock from the Flintstones, Bam Bam and Pebbles and all that. Slep Rock, right? My cousin, that was his nickname, meaning bad luck all over the place. All over the place. Black cats run from him. You know what I'm saying? So he calls me, and I see his number in the phone, and I don't usually answer his number on game day. I'm like, no, don't mess with Slep Rock. Why did I have to answer the phone? I answered the phone, and the first thing he says to me, because he's not an Eagles fan, even though he grew up in the city of Philadelphia all his life, but first thing he says to me is, yo, hola, I just wanted to give you my condolences. And that was another opportunity. I should have hung up on him then, but I didn't. He says, I just wanted to give you my condolences. I bet on the Eagles. And I was like, oh. And I just hung up on him. That's all. I should have never answered the phone, but I did. He tells me this news. I should have hung up on him. I did hang up on him, but I should have never answered the phone. That's first. I should have never answered the phone. The X Factor says, as long as we don't bring in another OC trying to reinvent the wheel. Yeah. We kind of have a system that works well with Jalen. He's comfortable in it. I think if you want to expand it a little bit more, expand that playbook a little bit more, he's ready to do that. I think he has what he does best down, Pat. So it's time to incorporate some more play designs in there for him, to build up his repertoire. But yeah, you're right. There has to be a good match, and that's why it probably will be the quarterback's coach if he's ready, and they know if he's ready more than I do. I just say that because it makes sense, but everybody's not ready, even though they're in the building. Everybody's not ready to step into that next role. So I'm going to have to trust Howie and Sirianni on making that determination. Splash says, damn, I'm superstitious too, bro. On my best friend texts me the whole game, and I ignore him and reply back when it was 21-26. I knew it was about to get bad, and I should have never answered him. Yeah. I did. Yeah, I couldn't help but, I mean, I know it really, like deep down inside, we know that didn't have an effect on what they were doing on the field. But, when you're used to having those type of thoughts, when you're wearing the same shirt and stuff like that, you can't help but and that's that mentality I'm talking about. Like we even as fans are accountable for what we do on game day. You see that? We are even accountable to the fact, like, yo, I know what I did wrong. I answered my damn cousin's phone call, and I know he slept rock. Splash is admitting I should have never answered the text back. We are accountable, but we also know that didn't have an effect on those people on the field. All right, Carrie says we are asking questions about what happened. Andy Reid looked at our game fields, and he saw that number 2 was really Nnamdi Asomugha. Think about it. When was the last time you saw big play Slay make a big play? He was almost lost on the field the last 10 games. He became give up a big play Slay. We should not have been in a zone the entire second half. That's where I defend big play Slay there, right there. Just that sentence you said alone should get him off the hook. We should not have been in a zone the entire second half. What is big play? What is big play Slay better at? Zone or man? I'll answer it. Man. So when you put him in a situation where that's not his strong suit, he may look less than the Superman that we know he can be. Because he does show that he still has that ability when given the right situation, the right scheme, the right play call. And that's another thing that where Jonathan Gannon dropped the ball on, not recognizing and putting his players in the best position for them to be their best. You have a man-to-man corner, you want them to play zone all day. It's like you got a 7-footed center and you want him to hang out around the 3-point line. No, it doesn't work. Well, it does work with a beat, but anyway. James Nook said, I had a lot of my cowgirl friends and family call me, so I take some jinx. Yeah, it was not good. We should have played man. All who were their receivers, all we had to do was double Kelsey and play man. Yep. I think Pat might have pointed that out. That's all we need to do. Double Kelsey, man to man, everybody else. Man, that was still hurts. But I'm about to get out of here. Boy, I've talked for an hour. I didn't even know that. All right, y'all. I'm your man, Dante the Dark Knight. I hope that this therapy session has helped you guys. Has helped me a little bit. I feel a little better. Hopefully I'll feel good by Thursday because that's when we'll be back. The whole crew will be with me, Pat and Michelle. And we'll talk about our feelings, what we saw in the game and the such. I don't even have to pull it up because they play like every half an hour. So I'm just going to go and lay in the bed and turn on NFL Network, and it'll be there. So I'm going to watch this game again. You guys, if you can stand it, watch it again so we can all talk about exactly what we saw after a second look. You know what I mean? Because we saw it in real time. So some things you missed. So go back and check it out again, and let's come back on Thursday and continue this conversation. I'm your man, Dante Dark Knight. Thank you guys for hanging out with me on such short notice. I will see you guys on Thursday. I'm out. Peace, guys.
We go live in 5, 4, 3, 2. Smash him up, crack that fool. Quarterback whack, yo, sack that fool. Hit him, 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 hit him. Smash him up, watch that move. Went too swift, can't catch these dudes. Can't hit him, 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 listen, 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 listen. This Eagles talk, this talk Eagles. Philly bleed.